Welcome to Cellular Jail of Andaman, where history speaks. Hello, this is Shukla Choudhury, and I am going to take you back in the world where history speaks. The Cellular Jail of Andaman Islands, where countless martyrs of India's independence struggle laid down their lives. Once a prison, it's now a national memorial. History speaks through a poignant sound and light show, which has been refurbished recently. The water body around the jail is sparkling, clear, that gives new meaning to the world of aquamarine. We landed at Port Blair, headed for the Cellular Jail, the reminder of our country's colonial past, where our country's freedom fighters were confined in tiny cells. The massive three-storied structure, which was completed in 1906, has 7 wings radiating in straight lines from the central watchtower, much like the spokes of a bicycle wheel. The wings of the prison were designed in such a way that the cells didn't face each other. The jail is unique as it could keep 698 souls in absolute isolation from the world. There are plaques bearing countless names of those incarcerated in the jail and who died here. It's a soul-stirring reminder of their sacrifices. Prisoners were usually the freedom fighters who came from good and educated families, but here they were tortured and used as laborers to make the building. The construction material was sourced from Burma, and the idea of the cellular jail originated after the revolt of 1857. Even after suppressing the revolt, the British administration could not control the unquenchable urge for freedom and indomitable spirit of Indians for achieving independence. Thus, the brave heroes of Indian freedom movement were exiled from the mainland and brought here. The Kala Pani. A committee headed by Sir Charles J. Lill and Sir A.S. Lethbridge visited Port Blair in 1890 and recommended the construction of Cellular Jail, which started in 1896 and completed in 1906 on the basis of the Settlement Order number 423, dated 13th September 1893, issued by Colonel N.M. Horsford. The motive behind the construction of the cellular jail was to keep the largest number of revolutionary elements condemned to long terms of imprisonment at a minimum cost and personnel with maximum efficiency. The name cellular was derived from its unique feature. It had only one cell. 698 in all, and no dormitories or toilet facilities. Each cell measured 13.5 feet by 7 feet and had door with iron grating in the front. A 3 feet by 1 feet ventilator, nearly 10 feet high from the door, was provided to each cell. In order to minimize the chances of dialogue among the convict and to isolate them from each other, the construction of the jail was so made that the front portion of each wing was to face the back side of the other wing. The rooms in the jail are in a row. The narrow verandas run all along the front surrounded by iron railings fixed into the arched pillars that support the roof of the verandas. All these corridors meet at the central tower, which has the gate for entrance and exit. There used to be 21 warders on duty besides sentries in the central tower to keep vigil throughout day and night, though the chances of escaping from the jail was very, very remote. And how was the life inside the cellular jail? Well, life inside the cellular jail was so dreadful and precarious that in every moment some horrible experience awaited the prisoners due to the notorious jailer Mr. Barry, who proclaimed that he was the only mortal god in that God-forbidden land. This was not haughty utterance only, but it was actually a crude reality. His rule caused the death of some, insanity of some others, and general strike of the prisoners. During 12 hours of the night, the wardens insisted that the prisoner shall have no occasion to ease himself. Thus they had to check their nature's call till the morning. The cellular jail was the mute witness of all these episodes. With the fall of night, the prisoners were compelled to be confined inside the dingy cells and were exposed to all sorts of nightmarish experiences combating the bugs, centipedes, mosquitoes, snakes, and with the break of the day they were headed over to the working gangs for all sorts of sterners and other blood-squeezing jobs like turning the oil mill, making hookah shells, square pounding, weaving, hill cutting, swamp filling, crushing the boulders, clearing the jungles, etc., etc., etc. They were the type of hard work which the political prisoners were subjected to, though they were not at all accustomed to this kind of life or this sort of physical labor, cutting wood in the jungle, preparing bricks, and lying under the scorching sun, extracting the rubber were so brutal that many prisoners ran away in fright, many became mad, many died, many became insane, many committed suicide, and so on. Later, during the sound and light show that's held every evening on that very ground where the freedom fighters were tortured and which now hosts the models of the condemned prisoners and the Fasi Ghar, it was revealed that every time a prisoner was noosed, a bell was rung, which could be heard not only by the island people but also by the sailors on the passing ships. Thus, the cellular jail is a symbol of colonial oppression, cruelty, and untold suffering of hundreds of freedom fighters whose names are engraved in the walls of the watchtower. Every brick of the cellular jail has got a heart-rending story of resistance, suffering, and sacrifices of those condemned freedom fighters and the heroes of our nation. Vande Mataram.